free Nigeria Info.
Morning, everybody. Welcome to the Daily Digest with Jimi Disu. There's no time to faff around this morning because we have a very important guest. Mr. Karl Toriola is the MD of MTN. Mr. or Prince, which one do you prefer?
Mr.
Because I know that he's a prince. Is there any chance of you thinking at some time maybe that you want to be the Oba of Modakeke?
First of all, good morning, Egbon.
Yes.
Not a chance.
Not a chance. No, we just wanted to let's clear that out of the way. So the kingmakers will look in another direction.
Indeed.
Okay, we have the MD of MTN here, which means, of course, we have just 45 minutes thereabout to ask 1,001 questions. So we'll open up our lines halfway through. Let me quickly read out the numbers: 0201277093, 0201465790. Now, if you do call, please just give your name and go straight to the point. No good morning this, good morning that. How are you? No, let's go straight to the point. Let's go straight to the point why you are here mainly. You are here because there's been a recent increase approved by the NCC. And, of course, I understand the issues involved. But we probably need to ask, educate our listeners why you think there should be. And it's clear to me, it's clear to him, clear to a lot of us, but it would be nice to hear this from the horse's mouth.
Okay. Once again, thanks for having me here.
Yes.
Look, the reality is the telecommunications industry cannot survive without a tariff increase. It's called maybe more complexly sustainability, but honestly, it's just about survival. Everyone in the telecommunications industry is actually spending more than they're earning. And this can only go on for so long before the companies and the network connectivity systems start to collapse. And so that's why it's an absolute necessity. Why has this happened? Because everything in Nigeria, in terms of costs to the telecommunications industry, has gone up multiple folds, generally between 3 and 5 times what it was before. So while our top line revenue is growing at approximately slightly over 30% as of Q3 2024, our costs have increased 96%.
Wow.
And how are those costs driven? The cost of diesel is one of them. The cost of diesel over the last 3 years has gone from approximately 200 to 300 naira per litre to around 1,200 naira per litre. That's one of our biggest cost elements. We have a lot of other aspects of our expenditure that has gone up. The equipment that we buy, install, and we pay maintenance agreements for is denominated in US dollars because none of those things are produced in Nigeria. So if you are buying just figuratively or representatively a base station for $10,000 2 years ago, that was about 4.5 million naira. Today, that's 16.4 million naira. So effectively, we are spending more than we are earning. Let me put it to you in a humane, personal terms. If a head of a household was earning ₦1 million a month 2-3 years ago, and he was saving 200,000 naira a month, spending 800k a month, if that salary, let's say it has gone up by 30%, is now 1.3 million naira a month, and his expenditure is 1.8 million naira a month, he can't survive. For a period of time, he will survive on what he saved. But after some time, the entire system collapses. So that's why the tariff increase is about survival, sustainability. But on the flip side, the expectations from the authorities is that we are going to very quickly improve quality of service. But I'm sure we'll get into that later.
When did you actually have the last approved increase? How many years ago?
Over 11 years ago.
Oh my God. Why did you leave it for so long?
Well, the telecommunications law states that all tariff changes, upwards, downwards, in any form, has to be approved by the regulatory authorities.
And it took them, within 4 to 5 years, some increase should have come in, and it never did.
Yes, look, I'll speak of the regime of His Excellency President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. I think with all the drastic changes moving towards free market economies, liberalizing the foreign exchange regime, removing subsidy, they were extremely sensitive about the impact of a further price increase on the populace. And knowing fully well that especially the youth are very sensitive to the price of telecommunication services and data. But I think there's so much evidence now that they've understood that it's absolutely necessary and inevitable. As we've said, we wanted a 100% tariff increase. The 50% has been approved. At least go some way to ensure our survival, and then in future dates, as we also demonstrate improvements in quality of service, they might be open to further reviews.
Comparatively with other countries, do you know if in other countries there's any form of subsidy for telecom services? Because if you look at the reaction, even the labor reaction of activists and so on and so forth, they do believe that there's this perception that maybe in some ways the government can absorb the costs. Because if you look at it from a national perspective, some of the demands they're making are not justifiable.
So the telecoms industry in Nigeria is driven by the private sector. That means that there's it's driven solely by the private sector. That means that there is no subsidization by the government. And that drive by the private sector is actually what has made telecoms extremely successful and accessible to the entire population of Nigeria today, and has made it grow very fast, because otherwise you may find it's very much hampered. So there's really no real opportunity for the government to subsidize this. But what the government has done is to create a better enabling environment, which is what has allowed us to survive this long in a very, very difficult situation. So they've been very supportive, and really the tariff increase was the last step they wanted to take in really putting out the policies, enabling the speed of activities through things like addressing debt across the industry. You recently heard about the USSD debt towards the telcos from the banks. That has been addressed. The access to spectrum is another area of support, and there's quite a number of other things that has been done by the government. But that has helped, but it wasn't enough to take us to a situation where we can survive. So I think they did it as a last option, and that's why it took a bit so long.
Well, you asked for 100%, really, but you got 50%. Yes. What does that mean? Well, are you profitable, as it were?
First of all, I mean, what has happened is we've effectively borrowed to keep the networks running. So profitability is not the priority at this point in time. It's survival and being able to pay the interest that we've taken through our debts to keep the networks running. So profitability is not the priority. It's not the focus. That will come at a later stage through the tariff increase, through efficiencies that we have to drive. But it's also been made clear to us by the authorities that before we can start talking about working towards profitability, with this 50% tariff increase, we need to address certain quality of service issues and demonstrate that this was done in the best interest of the end consumer by proving to the end consumer that we're going to improve quality. And that will take 2 to 3 months, 4 months.
What kind of improvement do we anticipate?
So what happens with the tariff increase is we start to generate more cash flow, which allows us to pay certain bills which we were really struggling to pay before. Diesel bills is the first one. If the base station is not on air, you cannot make a call. Yeah. If one base station goes down, the one that's closest to it that may still broadcast signal to you will be congested. So that's the first thing, is that by addressing our cash flow through the tariff increase, we can start to pay on a steady, regular basis all our electricity/diesel bills, and make sure that the uptime is as high as it can be. That's step one. Step two, there's quite a number of equipment that we need to refurbish to ensure stability of the network. Step three, we have to expand capacity where we have congestion. Okay. And then step four, we have to put in redundancy. I'll just use the one that I think general populace will understand as an example. In a critical site that carries a lot of traffic with a lot of population, we would ideally like to have redundant power systems, which means additional generators, battery backup systems, so that if one fails, the customer doesn't notice at all. It falls over to the second element. So those are the kind of things that this tariff increase is going to enable us to put in place to ensure that we provide better quality of service.
Would we also have collaboration between the telecoms companies where they can pool resources?
Look,
like base stations and stuff like that.
So that's something that I think to some extent the telecoms industries have always done that.
They
share fiber infrastructure. We exchange fiber infrastructure to give us better redundancy. But that can be advanced, and we're in engagement to see how we can have active network sharing with various operators to provide us with more efficiency across the industry. Very complex thing to execute because it requires a lot of technical work. It requires no telecoms company wants to give an advantage to the other. But with the financial state of the industry, even after this 50%, we are forced to look for innovative ways to reduce our costs, ensure our survival, and then start to return to profit.
So what, at the end of the day, what the 50% has been approved, what do you think consumers can look forward to? What kind of increase in reality? This is what I mean. Maybe you have more packages that would make it more economical for you to shift to other forms. Here you pay by the minutes, you pay by this and that. Are we going to have integrated packages, data and calls like you have in other countries, joined together, bundles and stuff like that? Are we looking forward to something like that?
Look, first of all, I think to some extent those bundles already exist in Nigeria.
Okay.
To answer your question directly, look, what is approved is 50%, so you see approximately in that range an increase of 50%, but there will be increased flexibility for people to choose the most effective way for them to spend that kind of with that kind of increase. So as an example, look, if you are stretched and you find telecommunication services creating some pressure on you, we'll offer packages that maybe give you an opportunity during off-peak hours where the networks are not loaded to get more cost-effective.
So we are back to midnight calls.
We never really left midnight calls, but look, if you see that you don't have mission-critical activities, if you're browsing Instagram or so, maybe you don't want to do it during the day, you want to not increase your spend. But if you want to do it during the day, you're more than free to take the 50% increase and continue to do so. But maybe you consume more at night when it's off-peak. So they will create that flexibility for customers to choose the bundles that suit their pockets.
I have to open up our lines now because there's that impatience going on. We'll take our first caller for the day. Hello, good morning. Oh, we lost him. Oh, okay. Yes, that's it. Hello, good morning.
Hello?
Yeah, good morning. Quickly.
Yeah, good morning. Engineer Kunda talking.
Yes.
Two questions for Mr. Karl.
Yes.
We hear that banks are owing the service providers. What's the extent of the recovery?
Okay, thank you, sir.
Because he earlier said that they are looking at surviving in this harsh economic environment. Then number two, when is the new tariff structure, the 50% increase, going to take place? Thank you.
Okay, you heard him.
Yes, I got the question. Thank you very much. Engineer Kuda, good morning. Great to have you with us. First question. Look, we're a listed company, so we don't announce specifics to the numbers. When we do, we only do so through the Nigerian Stock Exchange. Let me say that the issue of USSD debt from the banking industry towards the telecoms industry is resolved. That is done and dusted. The specifics in terms of recovery will come through our earnings release for the full year, which we release sometimes end of February, early March. The second question is, when will this tariff increase be implemented? Look, the policy direction was stated by the Honorable Minister, supported by the EVC. Over the coming days, we expect the formal approval, which is the NCC has very well documented processes, so it will be implemented over the next few days, week or so, approximately. But of course, that's subject to the receipt of the formal written approval for the various tariff bundles. So I'd say it's imminent.
It's imminent. Okay. We have so many callers. Hello. Good morning.
Good morning, Uncle Jimmy.
Yes.
Yes, my name is Rotimi from Ikoyi.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think for me, the increment, I think, is justifiable.
Yes.
But my own take here is, many a times when you make your calls,
yes,
it's either you don't hear the person you are calling, or the person you are calling doesn't hear you.
Yes.
Now, 30 seconds is gone. How do you recover your money back from this network providers? Because that one is gone.
Okay.
And it's gone.
Well, he has said that of course you'll have improved services, and that is a given. Would you like to add anything to that?
Look, we acknowledge that our services are imperfect. We deal with a very, very complex operating environment. We're all Nigerians, so everything from damage to power problems, etc. But first, let me make it clear. Network operators do not gain from poor quality of service. The better your quality of service is, the more money that you make. And customers will always vote towards the best network with their wallets. So it is very bad business practice for there to be poor quality of service. But we deal with operating realities. Look, unfortunately, if you've occupied network resources, and even in the most advanced countries, you have these challenges. If you occupied network resources, we have to charge for them. If you have been wrongfully billed, and we've had independent audits by one of the big 4 firms into our billing systems, they've given us pretty much a clean bill of health, not 100% perfect, but like 98, 99%. If you're wrongfully billed, which means that you are charged more than you subscribe to, or for a service that you don't use, and you complain to us, we will address it. But I think the focus is really to improve the quality of service so that in generality, these problems don't occur. Now, even in the most advanced, secure, stable countries in the world, you still experience some quality of service issues. That's the reality. It's nothing other than what is created.
And also for people to realize that when you do call another network, you don't know who to blame, really.
Absolutely.
Yes, you forgot.
Thank you, Uncle Jimmy. So yeah, there's a two-way perspective. If you are calling from MTN to another network, MTN may be fine, the other network may be the issue, and vice versa. I mean, we're not perfect at MTN. So there are many dependencies there.
Hello, good morning. Hello,
good morning.
Morning.
Good morning to your guest too. I think what I want to address is if I load my credit now, will I still be caught up with the increment? Or should I?
You want to load ahead? That's a good one.
There's another thing, another serious one. Can we have the network, at least MTN, on the campuses, having like unlimited data for the students? It will go a long way to help parents, and we can do it because it's just in the air. Okay. Good morning.
Actually, she's pleading for some CSR things for educational areas and whatever, especially Wi-Fi services.
So let me first address the first question. The first question was around the effective date of the tariffs. I mean, it will be formally communicated through the customer base, and until we've implemented them, you still continue to operate at the current service. So if you buy at the current tariff structure, if you buy today, you're buying at today's tariff structure, and we won't change what has been committed.
So you can upload. You can buy 500,000 worth of whatever, but
the 500,000 that you have as airtime credit, that doesn't change. But what happens is with that, you have to buy a bundle. So that bundle that you've committed to will be honored and respected till the end of term of what you've contracted, whether it's a weekly, daily bundle or monthly bundle. So,
do you have a yearly bundle?
We do, actually.
That would be nice.
We do have yearly data bundles. Okay. Now, in terms of supporting students, the educational institutions, etc. Look, there are 2 channels through which MTN provides support on a wider basis. Through our foundation, we spent closing in on 30 billion naira supporting with a few big themes. One very frontal one is education. We have scholarships that we do. We support institutions on an ad hoc basis. We support in areas of health, women empowerment, etc., etc. And we do try as much as possible to provide support to anything that's going to progress Nigeria. Education really being the bedrock of progress. But we don't provide services for free. Even if we provide it to an educational institution, it costs us money.
Yeah.
And if we don't, we are not able to at least recoup our costs. That service will last for a few weeks or a few days, and it will collapse subsequently. So the idea of providing free, unlimited services to students would actually eventually collapse our businesses. Now, unlimited packages, they don't work in the context that we operate in today. Okay, but we have very large bundles at a better effective rate, which you can subscribe to. That is supportive of the wallet of such people. Now, the other thing that you can do, we also support the 0 rating towards educational sites. That means you can browse That means you can browse sites that are education specific at no charge. Okay? That's another way in which we support students. And then, of course, if you pick the right bundle and your studies at night, it comes at a cheaper rate of browsing.
Okay. We'll have to take a short break now. And when we come back, the calls are coming in. We'll take some WhatsApp calls and we'll continue our discussion with Mr. Karl Toriola, who is the MD of MTN. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
More conversation, more talk, more right after this.
Let me ask you a question. What holds you back when you wake up each morning? Is it the uncertainty of how the day will unfold? And as the day goes on, what makes your heart race? Is it the quiet fear that maybe you're not doing enough? And when it's evening, is it the longing for just a little more time? Whatever it is, remember, challenges don't define you, but how you rise to meet them. Staying connected to your dreams, that's how you break free from limits. Get unlimited data plus up to 6-hour battery backup to keep you connected without interruptions on Airtel 4G 5G Smart Connect. Visit the nearest Airtel shop to find out more. Airtel, a reason to imagine.
When you have bars in the sky, onboard showers, and award-winning in-flight entertainment, it's no surprise that Emirates was recently named the best airline in the world. We fly you to over 140 destinations, and with partners across the globe, we connect you to another 1,700 cities across 6 continents. So when we say we're also the largest international airline, what we really mean is, if you're going there, so are we. Book now on Emirates.com. Fly Emirates. Fly better.
Omo, hunger dey show people shaky. Dollar and petrol prices just dey turn on your own. But we for Union Bank don package 131 million naira for grabs for the Save and Win Pali promo 4. You could be one of our 3 lucky winners to win the grand prize of 5 million naira each and other exciting prizes. To win, save 10,000 naira or more for your Union Bank account and do at least 5 transactions monthly. To open an account, visit unionbankng.com or the nearest branch today. Promo applies to new and existing customers, but terms and conditions dey sha. Union Bank, your simpler, smarter bank.
For 3 decades, Chocolat Royal has been at the heart of your sweetest celebrations, creating cakes, pastries, and confections that turn moments into memories. From birthdays to weddings, cozy mornings to grand occasions, we've been honored to bring a little more joy to your life, one delicious bite at a time. As we celebrate this incredible milestone, we want to say thank you to all our loyal customers and friends, our dedicated team members, and our wonderful suppliers who have made this 30 years so special. Here's the 30 years of creating delicious memories and many more to come.
Good morning, my people. Now your pilots, the Eluna. Today we get special passengers for inside plane. 3 Betano members, they go England to go watch Aston Villa match live. Big congratulations to Emeka, Yemi, and Ibrahim.
Play with Betano and you will get a chance to enter UK for free to go watch the match between Aston Villa and Tottenham. Betano, now proud partner of Aston Villa. Play responsibly. Now only for people who don't pass 18 years. This promo go dey run from November 1st, 2024 to February 28th, 2025.
It's that time of the year again. The Glow Festival of Joy promo is here. And we're making it rain amazing prices. How amazing, you ask? 5 Cherokee Toyota Prados. 5 Cha-Cha Kia Picantos. It's unbelievably amazing. And it gets even better because we have 15 Keke Napeps. Plus 150 generators, 200 sewing machines, and 300 grinding machines. So, what are you waiting for? Be one of the lucky winners in the Glow Festival of Joy promo. Simply dial *611#. Choose your prize. Recharge now from as little as 1,000 to 100,000 naira and stand a chance to win loaded prizes from Glow. Promo runs from October 1st to the end of January 2025. Glow Festival of Joy is approved by the Nigerian Communications Commission, NCC, and the National Lottery Regulatory Commission, NLRC. Terms and conditions apply.
Glow Unlimited.
Hello, excuse me. This Milo pack looks different. I'm seeing support energy release, BAM, on the pack. Is it the same Milo?
No, this one is new and improved. The support energy release means when you give your kids Milo as part of breakfast, you are giving them energy they need to go to school.
Ah, I like this one.
Your kids need nourishing energy. Give them the new and improved Milo at breakfast. It has nutrients that support energy release to help them get the most out of their day. Milo, energy to go further.
Milo!
99.3 Nigeria Info, your number one station for talk. Let's talk.
You're listening to Jimi Disu right here on 99.3 Nigeria Info.
You're welcome back to the Daily Digest with Jimi Disu, and I still have Mr. Karl Toriola, the MD of MTN here. Mr. Toriola, I'm sure you've seen the various reactions to the tariff increase. The most notable being that of the Labour Congress that said that they were going to mobilize workers to boycott your services. I found what they said a bit laughable, I must admit. But I wonder how you reacted to that.
So look, I have all the respect for the labor unions, and they will take their position based on what they think is best. But I also think they will probably deep down acknowledge that there's a challenge with this industry. The labor unions that are advocating against this are the same labor unions that advocated for salary increases, okay?
Yes.
Because they understand the cost structure in Nigeria has changed, and if they go through the numbers of the telecommunications industry, I think they will also understand that this is not a question of profitability. We're not talking about that at all. It's a question of survival. And I put it to them that would they prefer a situation where telecommunications industry collapses or becomes as epileptic as other services that we see in Nigeria? Or would they rather...
and cut down the labor numbers.
Yeah, exactly. And, this industry, directly and indirectly, so like direct employment, all the contracts, distributors, dealers, diesel suppliers, tower companies, etc., probably accounts for close to 4 million jobs in Nigeria.
Including people like me.
Indeed. I mean, the connectivity that you have, and you used to produce this kind of talk shows, media, your interviews are spread via YouTube, etc., etc. You start to eliminate that. So I think they should think of the greater good of Nigeria, the amount of people that this industry supports. An industry that accounts for, at the last MBS, maybe the one before that, 14% of the economy needs to be supported.
I believe that it was probably some political statement, and that when the chips are down, it's quite apparent that you can't, what you got even just this time 2 years ago, you can't get at the same, because there's a list of it being essentials, electricity and so on and so forth. But I hope that our listeners will get good value for their money by the time that increase comes. Could we get that promise from you?
Look, you're not only going to get the promise from me, but you're going to get the assurance that the demand, unequivocal demand, by the Honorable Minister and the EVC of the NCC is that quality of service must improve in months, and there will be consequences if it doesn't. So aside from the emotional commitment from MTN towards the subscribers that we will improve quality of service, that's one. Two, improved quality of service actually means a healthier industry. It means a better financial performance, and whoever provides the best service attracts value to them. There's an accountability from the government, from the authorities, to ensure that it actually happens, and there will be consequences if it doesn't.
Okay, I have, please, if you send in a WhatsApp message, please endeavor to put your name there. But I noticed this one. Good morning, Uncle Jimmy. My question is, I noticed in the past few days that the 100% annual data subscription has suddenly disappeared from my MTN app. Was it deliberate, or has it been knocked off? But the 250k and 450k subscriptions are still there. This is a bit of a technical question. Would you? And it's quite personal, really. It's a one-off.
Look, around the 3 weeks ago, I bought an annual subscription. I can't tell you 100% sure, but there's definitely not been deliberately removed. I'll try again immediately this show is over to see that if it is working or not.
You bought what? You said you bought
an annual subscription.
You buy an annual subscription.
So for me to experience exactly what the customers do, myself and pretty much all the staff of MTN are on a prepaid line now. They get an allowance, but that's to ensure that they go through the exact same customer journey as the majority of customers. So I actually have a prepaid line. My primary line is a prepaid line. And that I do because I want to experience everything that the customer experiences like they do.
I thought it was automated that you're on the freebie.
I go through subscription process on my MTN app just like customers do. Now I get an allowance that pays for it. Don't get it wrong. It's not as if I'm paying out of my pocket. But the process that I use to subscribe to bundles, etc., is exactly the same as customers.
The one that this gentleman flashes me once in a while. He does what? Jimmy, good morning. I am splendid. Oroabuti commenting from London. Why are we what was he say? We are discussing when he said he was not representing. I don't understand that. Let's pick one of the calls. So let's hear people speak. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, Uncle Jimmy.
Yes, sir. Quickly.
From Lagos.
Yes.
My question is, can't they just have something like it is abroad? There's a data bill or internet bill or phone bill. Maybe like the subscription you do on DSTV and others, maybe 25K or 30K a month. So you sorted your internet and phone calls instead of all this every other day recharge. Thank you.
Did you catch what?
Yes, I did. I think what the gentleman, I didn't catch his name, but I know he said it from Lagos. So he's asking is why don't we have something like a fixed monthly structure that customers can use to just buy every month. Look, the industry in Nigeria is significantly different from that in the United Kingdom, and let us say many other European, North American countries. The first one is the credit control system. In those countries, you subscribe to a 2-year contract, and there's a very effective credit control system, automated collection of the money by the telecoms industry through direct debits, etc., etc. And that's still something that requires some development, and the creditworthiness scoring of customers is something which isn't as advanced in those countries. The second thing is they can set up the cost structure. They have, I would call them relatively stable cost structures in Western economies. They are not subject to this devaluation, which we are subject to, which increases our prices drastically. The inflation rate is in low single digits in most of those Western countries. But I also point this out, and people will think I'm just saying this to sell the story. Just go online and type in for any Western operator, tariff increases. The Western operators that generate their revenue in euros, pounds, US dollars, and have their cost in euros, pounds, US dollars, so they haven't had this devaluation, have actually passed through steadily inflation-linked increases to their customers. Whoever it is that you may think, Vodafone Spain, OO UK, EE UK, AT&T in the USA. So we are talking about an industry that for 11 years hasn't seen a tariff increase, and has been going through, in the early days we had 10, 11, 12% inflation. Now we're at about 34% inflation, and we have not passed through any costs. Meanwhile, those operating countries that have seen 2, 3, highest 6, 7% inflation have passed higher than inflation increases through to their customers in the industry, also to ensure the survival of the industry in the West. So we have a much more pressing case than that.
By the way, are there any new packages that you would want to talk about now, or you want to wait until the implementation of the 50% tariff comes on?
So we're operating in a highly competitive environment.
So you want to keep it close to your chest?
We are going to try to make it as attractive to customers, and we want a competitive advantage out of that. So I'll keep it close to my chest.
Keep it close to your chest. Okay, let's pick another call there. Morning.
Morning, Uncle Jimmy.
Yes.
Good morning to Mr. Karl. Mikechukwu is my name. I just wanted to, mention this. With this tariff hike, I hope that we will see a reduction in, unsolicited subscriptions to, platforms and services that, people are, generally not interested in. I don't even understand what I mean. Because you can just be on your phone and you just see that thank you for subscribing to so and XYZ amount has been taken out of your airtime. I know that he already spoke to, improve the quality of service. But I hope that there will be some intentionality, to this aspect. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, I did. Ikechuku Kedu. And thank you for calling in. Look, I think a number of years ago, maybe 6-7 years ago, this thing was relatively rampant in the telecoms industry. I can speak to what MTN has done. What we did is we did a very aggressive, what we call a TCF, Treat Customers Fairly program, to ensure that we eliminated these false subscriptions and ensure it didn't happen again. So we think we have that in control. I can only speak for MTN. To ensure that these things don't occur, we also have a program or policy that says you have to have a double opt-in, which means when those kind of services are being subscribed to, it cannot be subscribed with one click. You have to first request the service and then reconfirm that you want this service. And then the other thing we've done is that there's no automatic renewal of these services. So when it's time to renew this kind of services, to make sure that the customer is consciously desirous of those value-added services, they have to consciously renew them. So we've put in processes in place. But finally, there's also a feature, which, I mean, to the credit of the NCC, has been instructed that we implement, which is a do not disturb list, which means you can put yourself on a do not disturb list, where to ensure that the SMSs that you receive that campaign these kind of services, you don't receive them. So by and large, that works. There are companies that will actually send you SMSs from international sources. It's very hard to block those and put you on do not disturb list, but at least the ones that emanate from within Nigeria, you can implement DND. I don't remember the code offhand, too many USSD codes, but you can put yourself on the do not disturb list.
Okay, a lot of what you have here are personal experiences. We're dealing more with policy here. So I'll skip that and go straight again. Let's see if we have another caller. Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Sir. Morning.
My chief, good morning. This is Chris. For me, I'm good with MTN. Ajero should know where to direct his fight to. Where was he? This subsidy of a thing. The chief said he demand for how many 100,000 to pay workers. How did he go with that? So please, for 11 years, I hear him say 11 years. We all were in Nigeria. We know what is going on. For the lighter note, I want to thank MTF Group. They made me to enter a plane for the first time in my life.
Where you go?
They take me to Abuja.
You won't go again? I mean, come on.
No, they lost me for Transcorp City Hotel for 3 days.
Okay.
I'm telling you, I will never forget that trip.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much. It's nice to have some positive feedback.
Yes. Where did you take him to? I wonder. Hello, good morning.
This is Kenny. Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
I'm wanting to start off by saying that, from my understanding, MTN is already trying to own their customers' experience. Good job on that.
Thank you.
I want to confirm that they do have, as he has stated, the search engine optimization mechanism that empowers customers to actually log in on education-affiliated websites. That's what Karl said, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, the final thing I want to say, though, is that I will urge MTN, just like it's done in the Western climate, companies and businesses always lobby the U.S. Congress. I'm thinking they should go in and lobby the National Assembly with reference to the foreign exchange rate that is really high and impacting business, as well as interest rates. And that way, it's a win-win situation for both the company and customers. And hopefully, this price hike will find its way sliding down. Thank you very much.
Okay. You want to react to that?
So, look, thank you first for the positive feedback. I always say that good customer experience makes for good business. So we appreciate that. Look, it's not that easy to bring the foreign exchange rate and interest rates down. The reality is the foreign exchange rate is driven by demand and supply. If there's a high demand for US dollars, then you will see devaluation of the currency. But if the economy produces US dollars and the fundamentals of the economy are strengthened, things like debt, fiscal discipline, etc., then you will see a moderation in the interest rates. And In an ideal situation, I'm not holding my breath expecting it's actually a strengthening of the naira. The interest rates are also really subject to the state of the fiscus and the monetary policy. So look, a lot of money has been spent prior to this administration on ways and means. So the government effectively has piled up, prior to this administration, has piled up a lot of liabilities. And there's that, there's the devaluation, there's the removal of subsidy, there's global inflation trends that affected the inflation. But what happens is we've taken the pain now in the last year or two of all of those policies. So my expectations is the rewards for correcting structural challenges in this economy we're going to see in the next 3, 4, 8 years. So I'm actually optimistic about 2025 going forward. You can't lobby exchange rates and interest rates into where you want to, unfortunately. The fundamentals of the economy will drive that. But the fundamentals that have been put in place, and it's been very painful for everyone in Nigeria in 2024, but the fundamentals that have been put in place are correcting structural problems in this economy that will serve us in good stead in coming years. So I'm optimistic. Over time, the inflation rate will taper because we've taken the pain. The baseline for inflation, the prices have already gone up, so we cannot expect increased inflation going forward. And the free market economics will actually start to generate more economic activity that will drive the economy going forward.
Somebody made a point here to found quite significant. He talked about talking about the cost of diesel driving the base stations, and one is wondering if you have ever thought of a solar alternative.
So look, so MTN is very aggressive on its zero emissions target, which means first of all, for the good of the environment, we're trying to drive towards zero emissions in MTN. That's one. Second is the cost structure of diesel is also very important. Now, what's interesting that started to happen over the last year or two is the effective cost of solar/battery powered solutions is actually becoming lower than the cost of generators and public power. So I think in Nigeria, putting telecoms industry aside for a minute, I think in Nigeria you're going to see a very rapid migration to solar. Because the cost of solar panels and the productivity of solar panels, as well as battery and inverter systems, has come down aggressively. The problem that you have right now with that, and I'm still going to connect it to the telecoms industry, the problem that you have right now with that is the initial capital outlay is quite significant. So there are a lot of people who would like to migrate to solar, but if it's 10 million or 12 million or 30 million, depending on the size of your installation, to put that out, even though it's going to save you more money in the long term, is going to be quite challenging. But I believe that there are financial services institutions that are going to provide funding structures that will allow people to migrate to solar, and they will end up paying out of their pocket less than they do today, paying for public mains and generator. Now, for the telecoms industry, we outsource our towers to primary two companies, IHS and American Towers. Okay, and they are the ones that provide power solutions, but they are also looking at that. The one limiting factor for solar installations for our base stations is the amount of space that they have to install solar. So in the urban centers, there's not that much space to install solar panels to drive those. Okay, in the rural centers, much more attractive, and those companies are already migrating towards that. How aggressively they can do that across the network depends on the productivity of solar panels and the amount of space that they have, and of course on the total cost of ownership. It must be more effective than the generator.
Do you have investment in these companies? Because the thinking I had was that maybe telecoms companies would come together to form these other companies that provide general services.
So it's a very complicated structure. MTN Nigeria in itself does not have an investment in IHS or American Towers, although MTN Group has a holding in that. But the whole concept of creation of these companies by the people who created them was that it allows for a more efficient use of installed towers across the country. So you have a company like American Towers that can rent out space and power to multiple telecoms operators. And makes it effectively a better business case for the towercos, and over time will drop the cost for the telecoms operators. There are still opportunities for optimization of those cost structures, and it's something that we'll continue to look at on ways to be more cost effective.
Okay, I think we can take just 2 more questions and then I'll be done, because Mr. Toriola has 1 or 2 meetings to attend to, and we'll just have to let him go. Hello, good morning.
Hello, Uncle Jimmy, good morning.
Quickly, yes.
Ben from Neighbor.
Yes.
And could you the people Nigerians should attack is the federal government. It is not this people.
Well, nobody attack. I say we should ask or question. Which one be attack?
No, what I'm talking about is that the cost of diesel. The federal government has everything going for them to bring down the cost of diesel.
Yes. Now the word attack that.
Dangote crude to refine it for us. Diesel can be sold for 200 people price, and the federal government did not provide enabling environment. NEPA, they're supposed to supply power to all these people who do rural areas where these people are situated.
Okay,
so if they are using NEPA now and the price is low, these people will bring down their price. The cost is too much.
Okay, sir.
There's
Thank you.
an environment in this country.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Mr. Toriola, I won't comment on this because I have to quickly take another question.
So very quickly, please don't attack anyone.
Don't attack anyone else.
Doing his job. But he's right. The cost structure of operating in Nigeria is completely different from that in Western world where people are talking about monthly unlimited package. We have to provide power. We have to provide our own fiber connectivity. Infrastructure is a challenge. So it's a lot more expensive running a telecoms company in Nigeria than it is in the Western world. And so the tariff have to reflect that.
Okay, so we'll take our final question for the day. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Okudele.
Yes.
My name is Robert.
Morning, Robert.
My question is that the prepaid meter that I use is, the usage depends on me.
Prepaid meter, okay. Now,
no, I'm coming. I'm going to somewhere, sir.
Okay,
if I
go
load
quick.
the unit on it, if I don't use it, it will remain. It's a prepaid service. But your recharge card is also a prepaid. Your data is a prepaid. Why do you put expiry date on it? The user is supposed to depend on me. Is that not an infringement on cost, your subscriber's right? You are putting an expiry date on a prepaid service. It's wrong. It's not supposed to be so. You can only do that for postpaid. If a service I pay for before I use it, you are not supposed to put an expiry date on it. The user is supposed to be determined by me. So we're supposed to sue the telecom communication for doing that. Thank you.
Do you put an expiry date on?
There are packages that have an expiry date, but there are also long validity bundles. So the customer has a choice.
You have a choice, yes.
Which one to choose?
The one with the date has cheaper.
Exactly. Thank you,
yes.
Uncle Jimmy. I think you understand this.
Yes, well. Yes.
The ones that have a short expiry window are cheaper. Effective rate.
And they're supposed to use up very quickly.
Yes, to be used up quickly. If you want the longer expiry bundles, they are more expensive but give you that flexibility. So, look, we have probably even too many offers and propositions for the customer to choose from. Actually, it's one of the concerns that the NCC has is that we need to limit the number of our propositions so it's much clearer to the customer what they're opting in for. But the customer has the choice.
I also think that customers, in anything that you do, always read the little print. Always read the little print. Read and digest properly. I think I can squeeze in one more call, Sheriff. One more call. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, sir.
Morning.
Good morning. Thank you that Mr. Robert has said what I want to say is that you've given me the price of your data and I've paid it. How are you going to again to come and start to regulate me again on my expiring date of my card I've paid for? And sometimes if you borrow money like this, you're this thing, you continue to pay it endlessly. Is it supposed to be so?
Well,
okay, so let me first. I think the first question we've addressed, the short validity propositions come at a cheaper price, right. And that is a way of effectively giving you a large volume that you must consume within a certain period of time. If you want a longer validity option, which can be for up to a year, and I think some subscriptions are actually up to 2 years, please choose it, and you don't have this pressure. But it's a different pricing structure to give people flexibility for what suits them the best and what suits their pocket the best. The second question, it slipped my mind now. I've forgotten what the lady said. That was one. I can't remember what the second one. So forgive me, I'm not trying.
And in any case, you have to go.
Indeed.
Thank you very much, Mr. Toriola. We hope you'll be back again.
I hope you invite me again.
I will. Anytime you want, you can come here. In fact, this is MTN compliant. Look at him. Go to YouTube. He's in MTN colors.
It's a brand ambassador.
That's why we call it a day. This discussion is going to continue. We hope that very soon we'll have Elder Mr. Adebayo, who has an overall cover for the telecoms industries, and it's a discussion we'll keep going. Thank you very much, Mr. Taylor.
Absolutely.
Tomorrow, of course, is Diabumi, and we will continue where it stopped last week. I'd like to thank you all for coming. Sheriff, thank you for being here, and that naughty man there, which I know is here. So, Workshop Lagos comes out next. Don't go away.
99.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.